Hello everybody, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much. I have a super cute page for you that was inspired by Anna Griffin. I saw her on one of the previews. She was introducing the Create 8 that's coming around the corner, and she was showing us these gorgeous dies. They are the feather dies that are impression dies. And she had this gorgeous paper charger. So I love that idea, but I wanted to adapt it into a scrapbook page. So that is what I did. And so it's super adorable. I just love the way it looks. I have some real pretty pictures that are fall themed, and you open up this little spot right here, and there's another little picture right here and somewhere to journal, because I think these pictures are just waiting for you to journal something on them. So here is our page, and let me show you how I put it together. Okay, I am no expert at fussy cutting with an X-Acto knife. All I can tell you is be careful, because I already slightly cut myself. So we need 4 of these. So I am picking out the centers of them, and I want a lot of white around it. So I am starting right here with this one. See, I'm picking up these. Starting at the root, or what I'm calling the root. And what I was taught is that you spin your paper. So I'm putting lots of pressure, gentle pressure on my mat. I'm putting pressure on the X-Acto knife to go down. And I am only moving the paper. I'm trying my best. It works best when you do not lift your X-Acto knife up. You just stay on the glass. This is a glass mat, and I have 2 of them, self-healing mats. And I like to cut fussy cutting. If I'm gonna do this, I like it on a glass mat. Okay, you see how I did that? Let's try. We need 2 more of those. The glass mat makes it really smooth. Okay, and look at that. I think I went a little bit too far on that little tiny spot. So I'll get my little scissors and kind of just round that piece up. Okay, so we have 4 of those. Okay, practice makes perfect with this. So let's practice. Okay, I am using the finely feathered dies. The finely feathered dies are in the Create 8 box. Okay, so I am not one that likes to use stains, inks, but we're going to try. I already cut these once, and now I'm going to ink up my pad here. I don't know anything about inks. First of all, I don't know anything about ink. Okay, I'm using 2 colors. I don't know if I can do that or not. I don't know the chemistry of the colors. I do know you're supposed to have a wipey with you, so you can, because I don't like things messy. And now I put this right into the same grooves as I had before. I know you can do this all beforehand. I just didn't do it the first time. Okay, look at that. So here's your difference. You get more feathers, more definition. I like it. So let's do it again. Okay, now I'm cleaning my die, because if I use it again and I don't want it to be inked, I want it to be clean. And it's a little interesting how we're going to build this. I'm going to kind of show you how we're going to build it first, and then we're going to actually glue it together. So let me put this aside. And yes, I cut it in half. You can see this right here. I cut it in half. I have a reason for that. So here are all of my preparing dies here. So I have been cutting these papers right here to show you what we need. First of all, the circle here one as a base, and one for the top. And then we're gonna make a third one. So we're gonna need 3 of these bases. Okay, we're gonna need 3 of the bases, one for the bottom and one for the top. And sometimes it kind of gets a little cut. And so what I did is I put a second one right on top of that, and I kind of did a little tiny edge right here, so you can kind of see that it makes it look nice and neat. Okay, so that is the first one. We need 3 of these. Okay, and then on our nice big one, we need 4 of the color palette of your choice. I chose the gold, matte gold paper. Okay, you don't have to go all the way down to where the feathers are because we're going to be tucking them in. So we have 4 of those, and then I went with this gorgeous Paisley that's right here. And I was using some scraps from another project, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to tuck this in. We'll see, or maybe I have to run some more. They were scraps, so why not? Okay, and we'll need 4 of those little feathers. Okay, and then I used 4 feathers of a color that really stands out. That is this bluish purple color in the same palette. I'm using the Paisley palette, okay? Excuse me, I am using the Paisley collection. And again, you don't have to use the stems because we're gonna tuck it in. That is this one. And then I used this paper right here. And we run it through 4 times. This one here with this yellow lime color on top, and I used Distressed Inks, Forest Moss, and Walnut Stain to kind of give it this distressed look, or really accent the feathers better. And I kind of think it looks really good with this palette. Okay, and then we need the little Paisley medallion here. I used it and I tried to cut around and have my little hand from this Paisley collection to kind of sit in here. So when I tuck it in like this, I want my little blue hand to be showing through. So you can cut it any way you want, but that's the way I cut it. So this little blue piece would be sticking out, and you need 4 of those. And then we did some fussy cutting just as a little extra accent, and there's 4 of those, okay? So now what we're gonna do is put this together. I'm gonna use a scrap piece of paper, this little one here, and I'm going to cut this circle just like this. We don't have to use our gold matte 3 times. We need 3 little circles, but the bottom one is not going to be showing. This just gives us the perfect circle so that we can tuck our things into, okay? Now here we have this one. And then the next thing I'm going to use I'm going to use this 12 by 12 paper as my ruler, my dimensions here. So I'm going to put my little circle here in the middle. I don't want my feathers to be sticking out more than this 12 by 12 paper. Okay, you can make your feathers as big as you want, but for my feathers, I want them to stay in the 12 by 12 paper. You can see that I am really short on my scraps here, got really short. So don't worry about it. We're going to glue them in. I promise it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I am using wet glue. You can use score tape, or you can use whatever glue you want. I'm putting this right here. I'm using a little bit of painter's tape to this to keep my little feather from moving. I feel like it's moving where I don't want it to move. Okay, and then I'm going to use score tape to kind of bring my feathers together because my feathers are a little bit short. Okay, I want the feathers to be on the edge as big as possible for my page. Okay, and that score tape is kind of holding that in. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so now here we're going to put our feathers right there, and then I'm going to bring this down just like that. Do you see how we made that score tape grow a little bit and make our feathers? It's going to help also with the overlap, so don't even worry about, this is the only piece that you're going to be seeing. So next we're going to put down our gold, and the gold goes just like this. You can see that even with all of this gold, it's way too much. So now we're putting glue around the circle, and I'm putting my gold feather. I apologize if I'm calling it a leaf. I'm putting my gold feather right in here. Okay, so now we can do the next one. I'm going to hold this here. We're going to put a little glue. Okay, hold that down. We're doing the same thing to the next side. Do you see how we don't even see the brown one anymore? It's completely sandwiched in here. That's why we didn't have to make our feathers all the way down. And then we're going to do the same thing to this one. And then this one comes in straight. Kind of look at your composition, see if you think you like it that way. Okay, I kind of think I like it just that way. You can see from my sample here, I have the green and the blue feathers tucked into the side, so that's what we're going to do next. And I kind of like them together, showing a little bit more of the blue. And then we're going to add some glue to this, and this one gets tucked in right into that same spot. And I am not gluing to the cardstock underneath. I'm just gluing to the feathers together. They're feathers between each other. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay. So as you can see, what we were doing is we were just tucking in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little blue painter's tape. Okay, and now we take this part off. This was just a sample so that I wouldn't go beyond my 12 by 12 measurements, because I want to put this on a page. So we don't want to go beyond the 12 by 12. Okay, so here is our gold medallion that we would sit right on top. And now we need our fussy cut paisleys and our gorgeous paisleys that we used with the impression die. And I want this little blue hand to be sticking out. Does that make sense? The little blue hand. I'm not sure what the little blue piece hand is called. Somebody can let me know. Before we put that all in, I know I worry sometime about things coming apart, so we're going to squeeze a little glue in here and add a little glue into these areas, just making sure that they're going to stay put, because we're going to cut into this. That's going to be so much fun. Gold medallion in the middle, and then our 4 paisleys. Okay, I'm going to take this away so that we can see better, and we're putting our little gold medallion. I think I want it right there. So I'm putting a little bit of glue right into this little spot. Have I told you that I live with men, boys that burp and make noises while I try to scrapbook? Ay, ay, ay. And here we go. I'm staying centered. Here's my 6, in case you guys wonder what I'm doing when I move my paper around. I'm working with my graph. I love the idea of using your eyeball method. Sometimes it's not possible for me. Okay, you see how much is on the cardstock hidden. So you don't have to, again, use all of your paper. Okay, same thing over here. Okay, and then we're going to put these right in between. These were our fussy cutting elements. It has this perfect little spot for it. Look at how pretty that is. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So we're going to use this area here to add glue. And in this little area is where I'm putting my little Paisley fussy cut one. How does that look? You see? Now if you pay attention to it, here's the circle, and here's a line and a line, and you're making a square within your circle, and then you put the little root of that little Paisley into that little space in the middle. Doesn't come out perfectly for me, but I've already done this twice, so that's why I want to let you know how I put it together. Now this gorgeousness is going to be in the center of my charger, plate charger. Okay, so now what we can do here is we can glue the entire thing down and come in to the center. And I'm going to put my heavy object right on top just to kind of help me press everything together. I feel like I'm making tortillas when I press this down. Down, yes it is. Okay. And what I'd like to do now is we are going to cut it in half. So if you saw this before, right here, I made this project here earlier. And what I did different last time is I spread it out, but this time I wanted to keep it all centered into a 12-inch page. So here what we want to do is we want to come in and cut it. Your center here needs to be at a halfway point, and I think that is the perfect place to cut it. Look at that. X-Acto knife. And really we should be using a metal ruler for this. My metal ruler is around here somewhere. The metal ruler works better because it won't cut into it. I won't ruin my ruler. So I'm here, this point, there, that point. I'm holding down, and I'm going to be really brave and just cut straight through. This is extra thick paper. You went through tons of layers, remember? So we're going to have to come back right around here where these Paisleys are. So you're pressing down very pretty, very strong. Press down very strong, holding all of this together. I feel like I'm cutting through Thanksgiving turkey or something. Okay. This is why I didn't want to make so many layers through the center medallion, and I was leaving some of the things off. There we go. Just cut our sunflower of feathers in half. Okay, now what this is going to do is now with my medallion, I can cover up the thickness of this. Do you see how that is thick right there? And this one also is thick. It's nice and neat, but it's still thick, and I'd like to cover that up. I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to take the medallion, and with a score tool, I'm going to score just enough to cover that thickness of it. Wasn't very thick at all. You can see here, okay? That wasn't thick at all. So we need to get this little piece right here. And I would think that that little 1/8 of an inch, if this is an inch and that's a 1/4, so that means that would be an 1/8 of an inch. So, and then I'm coming in and scoring. It's just paper, ladies and gentlemen, it's just paper, so be brave and score. Cut it, use it. Okay, so right there. And now we're gonna do the same exact thing. Have I mentioned that I live with boys that watch, I don't know, Western movies, or I don't know what they're watching on TV. So here, we're going in again. And we fold it. Okay, that is going to help us with our thickness. It's just something that I like because I get to hide that little piece. Do you see that? Barely trim it. When I apply this to the top, I'll be able to fold this little piece in, and it hides this little ugly part, okay? Just like this. Wet glue, I like wet glue. Applying my medallion right on top. Trying to stay in the center and folding this little piece in. Look at that. There is our medallion. Here, if you're having an edge of your book, you're going to be able to see that, and we're not going to be seeing ugly anymore. So now we'll measure this one right here. It's a little bit too big. So I'm going to come in here and trim a little piece. Trim a little bit before you trim too much. You can always come back and trim it again. Wet gluing here. Yeah, have I told you I live with boys? Yep, I am as frilly as a girl can be. I love pink, I love feathers, I love tiaras and royal stuff and royal news, and I live in a house of boys. Boys. Burly bear boys. That's where I live. Where do you live? Do you have boys? Do you have girls? Okay, look at that. Okay, so here is our plate charger. So if you're going to do a plate charger and you're going to do it for Thanksgiving, what are we going to do with those plate chargers afterward? I decided I wanted to keep them and turn them into scrapbook pages. This page right here, this scrapbook page is absolutely beautiful. And I'm gonna move this right there. So I love this because it's nice and bright, and it still has the paisley. And when I put these, I'm calling them a sunflower feathers, it sits right there. And look at how pretty that is. Look at this. So you get to use the trim of this page, and you don't have to do anything to it. And this little sunflower feathery thing kind of hides the part in the middle, so it looks like a continuous layout. Fabulous for me. And then we're going to do a tall page here, a tall page here maybe. And look at this one. It's the little feathers. I mean, it's the little paisleys. Don't you just love that? And it's going to sit there. And this one's going to sit here maybe. Okay, now we need to figure that out. Where are we going to put these at? We don't always have these pages. That I think I like that better. I don't want to break the black line. Do you see how that works? And this is the same thing. It's just the exact same 5x7 frame, and I folded it in half. I'm going to put some little stuff on there, and we are going to have a page layout, okay? I'm going to use double-sided score tape to put this down. Okay, right there. I think that double-sided score tape would be the best thing to use. And on this little end, I'll put a little wet glue on it to make sure it stays down. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to hold it and press, and we're going to get it all the way to the very edge of this. My fat medallion sits right there, and then this one sits right there. And then I'm going to pull on it, just like that. And remove the back of these. And I like to do that so that I can really be sure of where I'm going to put them at. So I only have tape on this part of it. Okay, so if I put my little paper, you see that? I can still tuck things into this, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now we're going to do the exact same thing to this side. I'm going to lift this little piece tail up right there, and then I'm going to lift this little tail up. So we have here I'm getting my little butt right into that little corner here. Okay, I love doing that with the tape. It's just such an exact way of doing it. So now what we do is this way, fold it over, but not too much. You kind of curl your paper back, and we are removing the backings of these tapes. Okay, and then you're going to bring that down. And again, if you wanted to put something under, you can still put things under. So now look at our page and how it's flowing. I like these medallions sitting here in the middle, but you can easily change this up and make it more dramatic and do your flower like this. What do you think about that? Or you can keep changing it up. Do you see what I mean? Look at how wonderful this is. Or you can do an up and down. How pretty is that? Isn't that fun? So I am going back to the plan of doing it just like this, because I think I like symmetrical things. And my muse for this was the Anna Griffin's plate charger that she was showing us as a sample. So I want to keep it together. And then this one's going to go right here. And then I'd like to do this one right here. Maybe here and here. Because this to me sometimes is going to be getting pulled on because it's a flap, it gets opened and closed. I like to use a double-sided tape for a part of it, so that way it's nice and strong. Not that our ATG glue is not super strong, but I don't use the name brand ATG. I use something generic coming from a wholesale store, so I don't know how strong it is, so I like to use a little extra. So here I'm kind of putting it into this little white space, if that makes any sense. You can open it and you can close it. You can open it and you can close it. And this little feather can fold it down, flap if you want it to. Okay, now I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side, because we're trying to stay symmetrical with things. And we're going to put it right on the edge of the black. Okay. Okay, and then we go open and close. All right. And here we have a page that is looking really incredible, right? I absolutely love this original die from the Scrapbook photo frames. They came with our scrapbooking crop at home, and I just love them. So what I'm thinking is I'd like to make a little gold frame around here. It's not quite where I want it to be. If I used my little tiny tape, and if I had a dream and could make my anywhere I want it, I would want it to be right there. Okay, so now I put that here, and I put this one going right there. Okay. Now we have just the right size for that, and I like it just perfectly. I put it right in here. Okay, and you see how we did that. We measured where we wanted it to be, and we cut off a piece. And that's why we use this, because we want that perfect little crease impression. Okay. And that goes just like that. Okay. And that gets to flip open, and we have places to put our thoughts, our ideas. Okay. And we need to do the embellishments. Okay, so I have all of the embellishments here that we could possibly ever want. Okay, so look, my page is finished. I have some beautiful pictures from my friend Pam that I want to put in here, and I have inside here some really good spaces for more pictures or journaling. I really love that we put our journals in here. This sweet little spot says remember, and it flips open, and over here it says happiness is a moment with you. So I think that is super fun to do. I just love the way it came out. We're able to recycle our plate charger and put two gorgeous pictures on here. And remember that we could easily, look how this happens. We can easily change up the picture flow and move it from a different side. Look at that. So think about that when you have your plate chargers and you're doing Create, that maybe we could use our plate chargers from Thanksgiving on our scrapbook pages. Look how that looks. I really like that with the, almost looks like flames or sun coming up. And of course, I absolutely love the way it looks this way. I am a symmetrical soul, and I like this right here. So let's get these pictures in here. And then we did these little pictures, put them in. I even was able to sneak a little picture in here and another one in this little spot. So you can kind of see that I got 4 pictures on one double layout. And this absolutely gorgeous frame that I think just came out so pretty. And I forgot to put a mat under the picture before. So what I did is I used 2 of these little frames, the size that I wanted for my layout or my picture, and then I put the frame on top of the picture. It gives it a different look than the actual layout. It kind of helps keep the page thinner. So I just wanted to show you how it came out. Thank you so much for coming by my channel. I am so happy to be here with you. And subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, comment, and talk to me.